What's up, everyone? Another episode of the show here with my friend Rich Pace. He's actually visiting California, so we're doing this podcast in person. So Rich is a guy I became really good friends with, done a bunch of deals with, and he got started a couple years ago. He'll tell his story. And I think this is going to be a really good interview for new investors who want to learn how to get started and how to have success relatively quickly, because Rich is doing some really cool stuff now. He's got a great business he's built. And we're going to dive into his journey so far and what he's done to get the results he's gotten so far. So thanks for joining me, buddy.
Hey, Greg, thanks for having me. Good to be here in sunny San Diego.
Yeah, man. Well, it's all awesome to have you here. So just tell the listeners a little bit about what kind of you did before you got into real estate, and then we'll kind of catch everyone up to speed on what you're doing right now.
Yeah, man. So I graduated college in 2018 up in Providence, Rhode Island. I caught the real estate bug my senior year after I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like everybody.
Sounds like every other person on the show.
That's right. Yep. It's true.
I think I have it on the shelf. It's like right over there. But anyway, that's
funny. I caught the bug. Started going to some meetups actually in Providence where I was going to school. Met some good guys there, and then once I graduated, came back home to New York in Westchester, and that's kind of when I got serious. So I started going to meetups at home in Westchester, actually, and that's when I met our mutual friend Frank with SDF Capital. Since then, I started doing some marketing back in 2018, kind of just sending out direct mail like a loose cannon. Had no idea what I was doing.
You started doing this in 18, bro?
I started as a generous term.
Dude. That's crazy. I didn't know you were around that long.
I started. I had no idea what I was doing. Probably wasted a ton of money on, on direct mail campaigns and not following up with leads and just kind of one off here and there, just expecting that a deal would fall into my lap, which, as we know now, doesn't happen that way.
No, I wish it did. That would be great.
I know.
I wouldn't really work that hard. I would just kind of.
That's right.
I would just kind of wait.
No, that's right. But I knew, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I knew it would work eventually. So, I stuck with it. And I actually didn't end up getting a deal. It took me about 9 months to get my first deal.
Same here.
$5,000 wholesale deal.
Same here.
And that I sold to Frank, actually.
I did one with Dave, but yeah.
Yep.
It's almost similar. Almost identical.
I still lost money based on the marketing I had spent at that point, but $5,000 at that time, it was a lot of money.
Proof of concept.
And it basically just told me that all right, this is legit, and I just got to figure out how to do this more consistently.
Where was the house?
The house it was in Orange County, up in your neck of the woods. I want to say it was in the Port Jervis area, actually.
And you wholesaled it to Frank?
Wholesaled it to Frank for $5,000.
He rehabbed it?
No, I think he probably resold it again. And,
okay.
I probably could have made a whole lot more if I knew what I was doing.
You and I could have split that down the middle, and we would have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
sorry, Frank. Anyway.
Like I said, it's the first deal is just a proof of concept.
Mm-hmm.
It probably wouldn't have happened had I not gone to that initial meetup and met Frank and So I would. That's probably a good tip for people just starting out. Would be just go out there and meet as many people as you can, because you just never know when they're going to come back to help you out.
100%, bro. Dude, you met me online, and then we ended up doing
your podcast.
We have deals closing next week, this week.
Yeah,
we've done a bunch of houses
together.
Yeah, man. So you never know for the listeners. Go out there and add value to people. Rich didn't come up to me and he was already doing deals, so he was already successful, but. We had a phone call. He knew I was in California. He knew I was doing business here. And, we started finding ways how we could work together, and we started doing deals together. And, we made a bunch of money together, and we became really good friends. So if you're out there, even if you're new, if you bring deals to people who are actually experienced, they're going to pick the phone call up. They're going to pick the phone up. They're not going to ignore you. If they're smart, they're not going to ignore you. And it's a really good way to really, for what you and I did was almost the same. Find someone like Frank who knows what they're doing, who is doing more deals than us, and find a way to get into their world.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to bang your head into the wall and do it the wrong way.
You make money, they make money. Even if you make less money on the first couple deals, it really doesn't matter. Nobody's getting rich on the first deal anyway.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, exactly. It's the experience what you're after.
It's priceless. Just to be able to get a couple deals done and see how it works and go through the process and meet the contacts, the attorneys, the contractors, the agents, all that stuff you can learn so quickly without having to go through it, on your own.
Totally, man. So let's fast forward to your first actual big deal, because that's a pretty interesting story. This when you told this to me, I could not believe that you actually pulled this off, which is insane. So just walk everyone through what you did.
So let's see. About a year ago, I did my first flip. First flip where I closed on it and actually did the work and did it all myself.
You did the work yourself?
No, I didn't do the work myself, but I actually took the deal down. Prior to that, I just done some wholesales.
Yeah.
Hadn't actually bought anything personally, just sold it off and that kind of thing. But funny enough, bought this deal again from our friend Frank, from the guy who I sold my first wholesale deal to.
This guy Frank won't go away, dude. He's like a whack-a-mole.
I was following, saw the email come through, and it was right in my town in Westchester. I knew exactly where the house was. I've driven past it a million times. And it came up on the wholesale list, so I reached out to him, and we ended up buying the house. Paid him a nice wholesale fee, which was fine. We got a good deal. So anyway, we ended up spending. So we bought the house for $380,000.
That still seems cheap for that area.
And it is,
like, that still seems like, bro.
Yeah.
That's
this is in Larchmont, Westchester County, New York. So it's a pretty expensive area.
Probably the most expensive area in one of the most expensive
it's up
counties.
there. Yeah. So anyway, me and my partner, both our first time doing first flips, first real adventure into real estate. And long story short, we ended up spending just over $200,000 on this rehab. We were in way over our head. We had no idea what we were doing. Had no idea what to expect. We just kind of, ballparked it and said, hey, this looks okay to me.
Who'd you hire to do the contracting work?
So we got a referral from one of our friends who was a pretty experienced flipper who had used this contractor.
Do I know the guy?
Probably not. No,
okay.
No, he's a guy local to Larchmont.
Okay.
So he had recommended this contractor to us, and it was a GC. So we weren't subbing out the individual trades.
Oh, you GC'd the thing.
No, we hired this contractor.
You hired a
the
GC.
Yeah, so he had his own
Okay.
people. Then he would hire out plumbers, electricians.
That's good and bad. Yeah.
So we had him doing the inside, and then we had another contractor doing all the exterior. So this other guy was doing siding, roof, windows, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we had two different groups, at the same time going on. We didn't price anything out. We took the first bids we got. We probably messed up on every possible aspect of it. Probably could have saved a lot of money had we known what we were doing. But again, it just got to kind of fail forward, and we certainly did. So this was right when COVID was starting, actually. We closed. COVID was in March, so we closed in April or May, I
of
think,
2020.
Yeah. And
that's scary stuff, dude.
So we kind of just took a chance and hoped that, people were going to be coming out of the city and want to be buying in Westchester. And we kind of maybe got a little lucky. But anyway, so it took us about 9 months, $200,000 later. The market probably saved our butts on this one because it just kept going up and up during that time. We thought we were going to be able to do the job in about 3 months. Took 9 months.
Oh my God! And you just sold that last year, right?
Yeah, we ended up selling it for $750. So we did okay on it, for our first deal.
What'd you walk away with?
We walked away with about 80 or so, 80 grand.
That's not bad.
40.
Dude, so you picked this thing up for $380 and sold it for $780?
$750.
$750. Yeah. So Frank gave you a really good deal. The rehab caused it to get a little spicy.
Yeah. So it was interesting. When he sent out the deal, he had his numbers. He put the ARV at 625, and we ended up selling it for 750, which shows you kind of how the market changed during that time. And again, luck or whatever you want to call it, but it worked out. And from there, it's just kind of been, kind of just took off from there.
That is incredible, dude. So what was the biggest lesson you learned from doing that? As a young guy without a lot of experience taking on... I mean, that's a serious... For people who don't understand, like, this area is one of the wealthiest areas in the state. Probably in it's one of the wealthiest areas in the New York City suburbs. So this is like... and the reason I'm saying that is because buyers are picky. You're dealing with really sophisticated people. This isn't like he's not buying properties in Raleigh, North Carolina, where you're just dealing with regular old folks. These are sophisticated people, a lot of financial people, and it's an opportunity where you can make a lot of money, but you can get stung pretty bad. So that's why I wanted to highlight this, because it was very interesting to hear this as Rich was introducing himself to me. I was like, "What do you do?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah,
So
it was a little crazy.
So what was your biggest takeaway from that experience? You ended up making money too.
We did okay. Better than we thought actually. Looking back, I don't know if what I know. I don't know if I would have done the deal knowing what I know now. So it's kind of one of those ignorance is bliss type of situations.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm glad we did it because it got me to where we are today.
Totally, bro.
But had I known, I probably wouldn't no way. This is too much. It's too risky.
Yeah.
I don't know what the market's going to do. This rehab is too much. We didn't even get inspections. We didn't. We made every mistake in the book. But it's really just about getting started and just kind of dipping your toe in. Now I don't know if I'd recommend doing it the way I did it and spending that much money, but it worked and lucked out, and here we are. So,
dude, that's a fucking cool story, man. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad we did it. I really.
That is awesome, bro. That is awesome. All right, so let's fast forward. So you did that. You did a couple deals. So you really kind of got your basic education in real estate. So let's fast forward up to what you're doing today to get deals. What you're doing, like what areas are you focused in, first of all? So where are you buying properties? And let's actually cover where you're buying and then what strategies are you doing, because you're not a one-trick pony, which is cool.
Yeah, so 2021 did about 15 deals all over New York and Connecticut for the most part. We have one in Jersey, but
that's impressive.
So it's basically Hudson Valley area of New York, Westchester, Dutchess, Rockland, Orange areas, and then Connecticut, anywhere, basically all over the state of Connecticut. So
mostly, it sounds like nowadays it's mostly Connecticut.
Now
we're
we're getting heavy into Connecticut for sure, and that's mostly because of TV, which we can talk about. But so up to this point, my main marketing channel has honestly been direct mail, and Greg probably because you're such a big fan of it, which is probably why I got so heavy into it. It seems just to be it just seems to be like the staple of where everybody starts in real estate is at least for off-market deals, direct mail. It's just easy and consistent, So last year, direct mail, SEO, did a couple deals from SEO. Didn't spend a ton of money
SEO.
And time on it. Yep.
I like SEO.
We seem to get some more SEO leads, actually, so I think there's some competition in SEO, but there's competition in everything now. So.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I would say direct mail, SEO, and now we're getting big into TV, actually, TV commercials. So, we'll see how that plays out in the long term, but so far it's been pretty good for us, at least in this market. The thing is really just consistency, right, as everybody says. It's like when I was starting out, I'd send out 1,000 letters or 1,000 postcards here and there and kind of hope for the best and then not really do anything. If somebody didn't call me and say, hey, I want to sell right now, I was like, well,
threw it away.
Just kind of threw it away. But now we've obviously implemented some systems and we have a CRM so we can keep track of all our leads, keep track of the mail, where the calls are coming from, where the leads are coming from, if they're good leads, qualified leads, unqualified leads. It's kind of where we're at today.
How many of your deals are coming right off the front versus follow up? Because this is important for new people to hear.
Yeah, no, it is.
Or experienced people who have teams.
It's I've probably done, 2 to 3 deals in total that have come like within a day or two of the first contact. The rest 90%, 80-90% come from the weeks following and months actually. We're working a deal together right now that the first contact I had, we're closing next week. The first contact with this seller was probably 9 months ago. I went out to see the house, made him an offer. He said no. He basically didn't hear from the seller for about 3 to 4 months, and then we followed up, and he called back and he said, "Hey, I'm actually, want to sell at your price." And 9 months later, from the initial offer, we ended up locking up the deal, and we're going to make some money.
Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, 28 Hillcrest.
But yeah, had I not followed up with him, I would have said, nah. He said, no, I'm going to move on. And that was 9 months later. We'll close that deal.
Yeah. So the big takeaway for people here is you got to understand that most people calling in. I mean, listen, Rich and I do a lot of marketing, so we get a lot of leads, but most of the good deals come on follow up.
Oh yeah.
I remember I had a rehab. I made $90,000 on it, and dude, the guy told me to go fly a kite on my first offer, and he ended up calling back, or I called him back, and he's like, "Hey, I'll do your offer." Took it down and made a fortune. So if I just threw that away, dude,
right,
he was going to sell to someone else.
right, and that changes your whole all your metrics, your marketing, your your
dude.
financials for the year.
Huge,
I mean, that changes
man.
everything.
Huge.
Um,
Huge.
And yeah. The thing is with New York too, and Connecticut also, the conversion cycle is so long. Even if somebody says I want to sell to you right now, it's 3 months out before you close at least.
On a wholesale deal.
Oh, anything doesn't
anything,
matter.
Anything.
You
Yeah.
I've never closed in quicker than 2 months. Cash doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
I've done. My record is 30 days. I've done that twice.
That's crazy.
Twice
That's
out of
crazy.
hundreds of deals.
Yeah.
Twice.
So it's very unusual. So yeah, it's a long-term game. It really is. It's you can't just send out a couple letters and expect to have 30 grand in next week.
No.
It just doesn't happen that way.
No.
But the good deals are all off market. So if you want the good deals, you definitely got to stay consistent.
Oh yeah, you're going on the MLS. You're playing a game that's rigged against you.
Yep.
You're not. You're just wasting time, honestly. Yep. Listen, if I knew every 100 offers I made on the MLS, I'd hire 3 VAs and they'd be making offers. But the odds of that happening, especially in our market,
right now, yeah,
are just impossible,
yeah,
because there's so much demand.
People know that the house.
People just don't understand. I think the biggest thing, yeah, that's so true. The people I don't understand, they don't get, or new investors have a tough time understanding that, and this is especially if you're wholesaling. If you're not buying real estate and you're assigning, you're not in real estate. You're not in real estate. Mm-hmm. You are not a real estate investor, and I'm sorry to say that's the facts, because it's true. You are a marketer. That's all you're doing. You're a marketer.
Yep.
Period. So if you want to make money, you got to get good at marketing.
Yep.
You got to learn Dan
Absolutely.
Kennedy. You got to learn Frank Kern. You got to learn direct marketing. You got to learn Perry Marshall. There's all these books and shit that talk about how to get good at marketing. And if people they listen to real estate trainings and they don't understand that they're not in the fucking real estate business.
Honestly, we just came back from that mastermind with Tony last week, and honestly, if I was starting up and if you can master marketing and master your sales funnel and get master leads coming in consistently, you don't even need to work the leads yourself. You could partner up with somebody like myself or Greg and say, hey, I'm getting good leads. I just want to focus on marketing. You just take, you handle the rest, right?
Totally.
So if somebody came to me with solid leads, I'd be more than happy to work them.
Totally, bro.
And split the profits or however you want to set it up.
Totally,
but,
bro.
And that takes 80% of the business, off your plate. All you have to do is focus on marketing and bring deals to somebody like you or I. We're more than happy to take them over, and we have the systems and the training. We know what to say and the cash to buy. And that's a great way to partner up with guys who are doing deals and for very, very, it doesn't take any time for you. Just send us the leads, and happy to show you how to work through them. And
that's such good advice, man. That's such good advice.
Yeah, you could probably make more money doing that way, even though you're splitting the deal, because you can do 10 times the amount of deals.
And you don't got to worry about dicking around.
Absolutely.
Dude, I'll actually take that point further with an example on that. So I don't know if you knew this, but when I got started, I was really spinning my wheels in New York, and then I said I want to do virtual deals because I thought the problems, the problem that I hypothesized was actually true, but it didn't matter ultimately. The attorneys were fucking me up, dude, because the sales cycle and my cash cycle was shot. So I said, if these attorneys are really the problem, let me go somewhere else and see if it's easier. And truth behold, it was easier in Texas at the time. So I started getting leads and locking up deals like a fucking animal. Yeah. But I had no way to sell them, and I didn't know anyone in the market. Right. So I joined Investor Fuel, and I met this guy, Jason, super cool guy, still good friends with him today. And I said, hey, bro, I met you at this mastermind last week. I have this deal. Can you go lock it up? Because she doesn't do DocuSign, and we'll split this sucker. We made $18,000. And then the next week I called him, we made $30,000. 50 deals later. we made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s net personally each. Mm-hmm. And I barely ever stepped foot in. When I'd go to Texas, I'd walk properties with him because then we started closing them cash and flipping them and doing all that kind of stuff. But dude, if I didn't have Jason in Dallas, it would have been so much harder for me to make the money. And listen, I was splitting those deals, and people would be like, "Dude, why are you splitting?" I'm like, "Bro, I never see the house.
Right, you can do 10 times the amount.
I do what I'm good at. I'm living in California now, so I don't even know what the fuck's going on. I send the money, and then I get the money back. Like it's like." It was such a no-brainer, and I think people have such a scarcity mindset where they think like, oh, I'm splitting a deal, or like, oh, I didn't get, like, dude, there's so many deals out there, and it's so much better to make money with your friends than to like fucking hoard fucking leads. Like, dude, you and I get the same leads sometimes, and then like we'll be like, hey, you working that lead on Smith Street? And you're like, yeah, and I'm like, oh fuck, let's do it together. And then all of a sudden we increase our odds of getting the deal. So
we've done that a bunch of times.
Yeah. So like, don't fucking think that you're like if you're new, like you have to hoard, because there's some gurus out there who still preach like competition, scarcity. Yeah. Like, dude, that's such a wrong way to think about anything, because like you never know, like you like. People don't think long term, especially, and I get why new people don't think long term, because they usually have no money and they need to make money because they can't pay their electric bill. And I get it, I've been there. But if you actually try to find ways to work with your competition, like, dude, like you, me, Frank, Devin, like we're all technically competitors, but we've all made money with each other, and it's such
we're going on vacation.
Yeah, we're all going on vacation. Together. Yeah, we're going to Florida. Like, it's such a cool way to think when you just actually work with people in your market and you look at them as well, they are your friends, and you can all do more together versus trying to like, we sell each other deals, we freaking like, you know, so it's such a better way to look at it. And then you build a community, and you learn from each other, right? And you're able to just do more versus like, oh, let me just compete with four of my friends. It's like you're playing a zero-sum game because only one person
might win one deal, but you're gonna lose 5. So, you know, I mean, I bought deals from Frank, I've sold to Frank, I partnered with Frank, same thing with you. I mean, it's a no-brainer, especially as you get, you know, as you start getting some consistency in the business, and, you know, you can create friendships with these guys, and especially who are people who are, you know, at another level, a little bit beyond you. You know, pull the resources together, and, you know, the potential is limitless.
It's
really
phenomenal, dude.
So
it's phenomenal.
Network. Really,
bro.
I mean, that's 90% of it, honestly.
Totally. So let's end the show with a case study on us doing a deal together. We're gonna talk about Richard Court.
Which one? Richard Court.
Well, your name is Richard, which is cool.
That's right.
You own that condo complex, by the way?
No, one day.
One day? Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna set the stage here with this. So Rich and I were just telling you how to partner with your quote unquote competition. So I'll give you the skinny, and then I'll have Richard continue it, or Rich. I'll call you Richard like you're a fucking attorney. So I'm on vacation, and I get a text from Rich Pace, and he's like, "Hey, are you working 164 Richard?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude. Like, this fucking guy like won't commit to selling." And he's like, "He's doing the same with me." So we ended up deciding to JV it. So we got this lead, and I'll have you continue the story.
Yeah. So I think you ended up locking it up, right?
I locked it up.
Yeah. So finally, he committed to Grit. We made similar offers, you know, and
Paul Tozzolino, if you're listening to this, guess what, bro? We both got it.
Yeah, we both got the deal.
I don't think he's listening.
So basically, the situation was the guy had a condo, and he had a tenant in there that was not cooperating, not paying. They were behind, I think, like $30,000 on rent or something crazy.
Yeah, he was big.
So it was big.
Huge.
He was
rented to
big
a family,
loss
like
here.
an ex-family member or something.
Yeah,
it was really hairy.
Really hairy situation. So Greg and I knew that going in, you know. So we basically made him the offer, assuming we're going to take it over with a non-paying tenant, and you know, we're not going to get access. They weren't going to let us inside. So we basically made the offer, you know, assuming the worst.
Which ended up happening.
Which ended up happening. We never saw it, never got inside. You know, took over the non-paying tenants. Tenants never paid us, barely communicated with us. And so eventually, you know, we got, once we owned the property.
How did we fund the deal, Rich?
Hard money. We took on hard money. I think we each came out, we bought it for $115. Mm-hmm. Bought it for $115. Took hard money for $100, I think, $100,000.
Yep.
Came out of pocket, 10 to 15 each to cover closing costs, holding costs, all that stuff, interest payments, insurance. So we're into this deal for about $15K each out of our pockets. Mm-hmm. And we thought we could resell it for
$175.
60, 70, yeah, something like that.
Good deal.
And our plan was to go in there, evict the tenant, do some renos if we had to. We had never seen it up to this point, so we didn't even know what the condition was, but we knew we were getting a good deal. So great deal. So what ended up happening was we got in touch with the tenant, said, hey, we're the new landlords. Basically gave them an option to leave, gave them a cash for keys option. They didn't want anything.
They had an attorney. They
said, speak to our attorney. So these were experienced tenants.
Which you'll see in Rockland and Westchester.
Yeah, they were gainfully employed. These people were not, they weren't struggling. They just didn't want to pay. So anyway, we threatened them with eviction. We're about to evict. I think we had a call the following day with our eviction attorney to set the eviction up. And then Greg gets a call. You can probably explain this part.
Yeah, so what ended up happening, and this is where karma, I think, plays a big piece. Yeah. I saw a house the day before, and the seller was, really broke financially. Couldn't pay for a septic pump out. And I was going to buy this house, still might end up buying the house in Westchester. And I said, listen, I understand you're struggling, and I know it's tough for you to make a decision right now, so I'm going to do this, and I normally don't do this. And I said, this isn't a reciprocity play. If I don't buy your house, it's all good. I'm going to pay for your septic pump out because I know you have $500 in the bank. And fortunately, I'm a big believer. Well, fortunately, I am at a point where I can afford to do this. I wouldn't have done this if I started. And I'm a big believer in paying it forward and doing good things for people without any expectations. So I paid for her septic pump out, and it was huge because there was literally shit coming out of the ground. I stepped in the shit, and I was driving back, and I'm like, man, my fucking shoe smells like feces. And then I'm like, oh, wait, that might have been feces I stepped in, not mud. Anyway, I get a call literally the next day, and anytime you get a call, this attorney ended up finding, because we own the property. We set up a new LLC to buy it because we didn't know if we were going to get into a lawsuit with the tenants, which we would have ended up getting into a lawsuit. So we bought it in 164 Richard LLC, I remember. And then I got a call from my company, Velocity House Buyers website, and this guy leaves a voicemail, and it's like, hi, I am something attorney. I'm not going to say his name. And I'm thinking, oh no, why am I getting sued? What? I don't think I even have any properties in Velocity right now. I think I put them all in other LLCs. And I'm like, oh no. I'm going to call the guy back. I don't want to kick the can down the road. I call this guy back, and he's really hoppy, friendly attorney, which is rare. And I'm like, hi, how can I help you? He's like, do you own 164 Richard? And I'm like, yes. He's like, I have people who want to make you an offer. And I go, what are you talking? I'm like, first of all, explain yourself. Is this a scam? Tell me what's going on here, because I feel like you're gonna.
It's not really
you're
for
gonna,
sale either.
It's not for sale. No, it wasn't listed. The tenants in there not paying. Because I have people, they've been dying to get a unit in here, and they can't find anything. And I saw that you own it, and I'm like, I didn't even say I just said okay, whatever. I said 180 or no, what did I told them some
you
crazy.
First said 200.
I said 200. Yeah.
Yeah, which was way more than we thought we could get for it anyway, but.
I figured I'd shoot for a home run. Yeah. So he's like, no, they'll do
175.
175. I think we ended up selling for 180.
Yeah, 180, 185.
185.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, we negotiated a little bit, and we came up. I said, listen, here's the deal, dude. You called me. I don't know you from a hole in the wall. I looked you up. You are an attorney. You're in New York City, so you're definitely a real human. You're not a robot in the Philippines trying to scam me or something. So here's the deal. You got to have your client. And they had a buyer's agent, so we had to pay him a 2% commission, which is fine, which is nothing. So I said, I called Rich up, and he's like, what the fuck, dude? What are you talking about? I'm
it sounded too good to
yeah, I'm like, listen, dude, this is what the guy fucking told me. I don't know. Let's just go with it, and let's see what happens. And he's like, all right, cool. He's like, just make all the decisions. I was like, all right, cool. So I end up accepting this offer, and I'm like, listen, dude, you got it. And this was right around Christmas. So, everyone was going to stop working for a couple weeks because of the holidays. So I said, here's the deal. I said, you got to have these people make a non-contingent offer. No, they can't go inside. No bullshit. Huge deposit down. They got to know exactly what they're getting into because I still don't believe this.
And you laid it out all up front. There was no surprises. We didn't try to tell them, everything was good.
Nothing.
We told them exactly what the situation was, and, they were okay with it.
They were okay with it. They accept the offer. We signed the contract right away. We actually closed in 3 weeks, which is rare in New York. Mm-hmm. Somehow they got title back fast, and we ended up buying this, selling it, sight unseen. Never saw the property. We made, what did we make? 30 grand, 40 grand. We made 40 grand, I think.
Yeah, 45.
40. We made 45 grand net to us. Split it down the middle, so 22 and a half each. Ended up making a fortune on this thing relative to the value in half the time, and it worked out like a bandit. Yep. Could have went the other way, but here's the point of that story. Number one, do good things for people without expecting shit in return. Number two, I would say when you have something that people want, you're always in a good position to negotiate a good price.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And it comes back to finding the off-market deals, right? If that condo is on the market, everybody has access to it. You have no leverage, but
Yep.
we owned it, but we had it at a good price because we bought it off market. We had no competition, and once you have a good deal at a good price, the opportunities are endless.
They're endless.
If you really have a good deal, there's money to be made a million different ways.
Yes. Yeah. So we made a good amount of money on that. Closed it. We closed it, I think, in 2021, actually. So we got that on the books.
At the end of the year.
Yeah, I think December 28th or 29th we funded it.
Yeah.
Or they funded it. So, yeah, that was a crazy, cool JV story where we turned basically a deal that we almost wouldn't have won because we were technically working the same lead, decided to partner on it, worked out in our favor, and that was a good one. That was a good story, too. And then we went and got a nice dinner after. We celebrated that one. So here's the point. Partner up with your investors in your local market.
Absolutely.
And you'll be able to make more together than what you'd make on your own. So, Rich, as we wrap it up, what does the future look like for you? What are you kind of doing now in 2022 from like an exit strategy perspective?
Yeah. So last year, like I said, did about 15 deals, mostly wholesales, a couple flips in there, a couple rentals, picked up a couple rentals as well. So this year I'm looking to actually transition more to flipping. I know that's some people.
God bless your soul.
Yeah, some people kind of think I'm a little crazy for that, but I'm trying to up the margins a little bit. So I'm trying to do about 20 to 25 deals this year, mostly flips, and mainly because I'm trying to get more out of the leads that I already have coming in without doubling my marketing budget.
Yep.
So, you could wholesale a deal for 10, 15, 20 grand or possibly flip it for 30, 40, 50 grand. And it's the same lead. I'm spending the same amount of money on finding that deal, working the lead. So I'm going to try to flip more deals that make sense. I'll still wholesale. If we can make a good profit on a wholesale deal, it's still easier and much more efficient to do that. But I'm going to try to scale up the flipping and hopefully pick up a couple more rentals and then bring somebody on in the business, somebody to, make the first hire, probably an acquisition manager.
Good idea.
Gave me some good tips on that. So, if anybody wants to connect, happy to talk to anybody. Going to be looking to hire hopefully this year. So, if anybody's in the New York region or, Connecticut, New York, Hudson Valley, happy to connect and see if we can do some business together, Greg and I.
That's awesome, man. So if people want to reach you, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, I have an Instagram for the business, Pace Homebuyers on Instagram, Pace Homebuyers, PACE. I'm sure you'll link it in the description.
Yep.
And then anybody can give me a call or text. My cell is 914-471-5145. Happy to chat with anybody, anything real estate. All over the country, doesn't matter to me. Love talking real estate. I'm going to be looking to hopefully open a new market too by the end of the year. So if anybody has any ideas on that, happy to hear your thoughts.
Perfect, dude. So check out Rich at pacehomebuyers.com if you want to sell him a property. If you want to connect with him, he just gave his number. What's your number again?
914-471-5145.
And if someone wants to email you?
Yep. My email is Richie, RICHIE, at pacehomebuyers.com.
Cool, dude. Well, thanks for coming on the show. I like doing these in person.
Having me.
A little convenient before I drop you off at the airport.
Absolutely.
So listen, buddy, always a pleasure talking with you, and I know the listeners got a lot of value today.
Sounds good. Thanks, Greg.